Hi, St. John's. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Starting this Sunday and for the next 3 Sundays in July, so July 12, 19, and 26, you're going to notice that the gospel passage that's going to be read in church on each of those Sundays comes from Matthew chapter 13. And they're all parables that Jesus gave his disciples and the crowds that followed him. But what is a parable? I want to just talk a little bit about what a parable is and why did Jesus talk so much in parables. Hopefully that this will deepen your own appreciation of this literary and teaching style that Jesus had. So the word parable comes from the Greek parabole. And it's actually a construction of 2 separate words, para, which is beside, and bole, which means to throw. So to throw beside. We're familiar in English with the word bole. That's where we get the word ballistic from. We're also familiar with other constructs that relate to the word bole. So hyperbole is to throw beyond. Or the word symbol, sim, which means together, and bole, to throw, so to throw 2 things together. And parable, to throw beside, the idea is that you're throwing something out and there's something else that's going beside it that mirrors but is of a different meaning. So many have talked about Jesus's parables as being an earthly example with a mirrored or parallel spiritual message, and they go side by side. So why did Jesus use parables? Well, it's interesting because in the gospel reading that we're going to have this coming Sunday, where Jesus talks about the parable of the sower and the seed, which we're all familiar with, the disciples themselves come to Jesus and they ask him why he speaks in parables. So this is how Jesus responds to them. Then the disciples came and asked him, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" He answered, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For to those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. The reason I speak to them in parables is that seeing they do not perceive, and hearing they do not listen, nor do they understand." So what it sounds like Jesus is saying here is that the reason he teaches in parables is because there is a value or an expectation somehow for the listener to enter into some discernment as they are hearing what Jesus is saying. So rather than Jesus just giving the meaning, especially when he's talking about the kingdom of God, here's exactly what it is, he ends up using parables like the kingdom of God is like a sower, or the kingdom of God is like a treasure in a field. And there's this idea that we're getting is that for Jesus, what's really important is for the listener to have agency in understanding the message. And so Jesus basically, he says a parable, but most of the time he doesn't explain what that means. Imagine if on a Sunday morning I just got up there and I told a story, but I didn't explain to you what the story means and all the kind of the specifics of the story and how they relate to the topic that I'm talking about. Instead, I get up, and I kind of wish I had the courage to do this. You get up and I just say a story, and I leave it with you, and I say, whoever has ears, let them listen. I can imagine in some ways that being great for some people. Well, that was a short sermon. I like that. But for others, I can imagine there being this desire for more. Will you say more? And that's often how the disciples and those who heard Jesus preach and teach, how they felt about it. They would say, well, Jesus, can you tell us more? And it seems like Jesus takes his disciples aside, and sometimes he'll explain it to them, but he most of the time does not explain this to his other hearers, because he's looking for those who are truly seeking to find meaning in his words, that they're going to dig and they're going to find meaning. But for those who are not seeking, who are just listening maybe with a critical ear, just trying to catch Jesus, that they're going to find his words to be in many ways meaningless. And this is why Jesus says, to those who have that desire, that longing, more will be given. And to those who do not have, who are just trying to be critical and just trying to listen with their brains and just say, I'm not sure I agree with that, or what is this all about, that what they have will be taken from them. So I'm just sharing this with us for us to think about a little bit what parables are and why Jesus found them so important and a really powerful tool for him. And I just want to turn this around and to ask you, when you hear the words of these parables, are you seeking someone to explain the meaning of these to you? Or is there a place for you to actually take the parable and ask yourself, what does this mean for me? And how can I take my journey and my search for meaning in life and where God is in my life, and take these parables and really dig into them myself and try to understand what they mean for me and what's that spiritual message that Jesus is communicating to me and to us as a church. So I hope that you find this as an invitation to have your own sense of agency as you listen to parables. And I look forward to you and me listening together to the parable of the sower and the field this coming Sunday at 10 a.m. when we gather together for our virtual worship. God bless you, St. John's.